Death Chicane. You can see it here. It's the theme of this race. Of course, we're talking Dragon Trail Seaside in Group 3 cars, Lazy Boy Racing. This is Season 2, race number 4. Man, all kinds of chaos, drama, excitement. This is going to be a long video. It's the race in its entirety, but it's YouTube. You can skip around if you want. Qualified 12. I will get into why in a minute. But as this race starts and I get a very good launch, I'm right next to Scuds. And I think I've got room, and he comes over, I ride that curb, and as I come off the curb, my car just goes sideways and then ends up, I bump into him, I slam into a wall, and think my race is over. And we've got an 18-lap race. Scuds recovered, he's back out there, but unfortunately for him, that incident landed him a 5-second penalty. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's fair. I think the penalty system is broken. I don't know what to do about it, and I can't do anything even if I did know what to do about it. All you can do is drive on, so that's what both of us do. You can see that I am in 15th of 16th position. In my mind, I'm in last place. So the 16th position was Yen. He was stuck at the starting line, and we're going to see that coming up here because he did not start the race. I don't know if he had internet problems. I don't know if he walked away. I'm really not sure what the issue was, but he was not there. So I've been knocked all the way back. I talked about qualifying 12th. My strategy was to qualify, 15-minute qualifying session to go out on racing softs, get 4 or 5 laps in, hopefully knock it down into the 138s, then exit, switch tires to racing mediums as we see Scuds serving his ridiculous 5-second penalty. So I make up one position. But my pit strategy did not go to plan. I ended up running into traffic. I had hot laps that were botched, and there's Yen still sitting on the grid. Don't know what happened, but we will see him kind of teleport in and out of this race, smash into walls and all kinds of weird, wacky stuff that I really don't get. Regardless, pit strategy went terrible, so I ended up qualifying 12th, but getting a killer launch, which has been an advantage in some of these races, but when you spin out, not so much. I'm catching up to Turbo Timmy and Crazy right in front of him. I felt somewhat encouraged that I made up the one spot not on Scuds, but I also have caught up to a couple of cars here, and I can see a group of cars in front of them. So that's, lifting my spirits at least a little bit to feel like I can at least make a race of this. So we make up 2 positions there momentarily, but Crazy gets it back, but we're up into 12th. So from 15th to 12th, not bad. As we come into the Death Chicane, and you saw from my B-roll footage there, or low lights if you want to call it that, there's somebody just smashed into it. Crazy catches it, so that lets me get by him. There's another position, and I'm not sure who that even was in front of him that bought it, but now I'm up into 10th pretty quickly. That's encouraging. Chasing down Rain. My pit strategy for this race is a one stopper, so at the end of lap 9 we'll be going in for a fresh set of mediums. I tried practicing this race on softs. I could do it, but the last couple laps were pretty rough. As my teammate likes to say, the tires felt like wet toilet paper, so there's nothing there. Coming through this section, it is flat out through this right-hander, maybe a slight lift. I did lift, especially with traffic in front of me, and then trying to get on that inside curb. These curbs were, as you saw in that very first curb I encountered, almost the death of me. I think it is a combination of ride height and how these curbs are built that there's like a ridge to them, and if you get the car onto the ridge, so I can get the wheels, I can get the tires onto the curb, but if they go up and kind of over the ridge of that curb, that ridge will catch the bottom of the car, and I'm pretty sure that's what caused that wreck in the beginning, and also kind of limited my ability to shoot through here. Although as I go through the death chicane that I was not doing at 120 plus, slight brake there, a little too slow, and then trying to get my right wheels past that little curb on the right onto the red painted area and ride in that groove. Some of the faster guys were doing 120 plus through that death chicane. I could do it every once in a while. I decided every once in a while was not a great strategy in a 18 lap race. So you can see we just moved up past rain. So now we're in P9 as we start lap number 4. So that's some excellent progress, and going from 15th to 9th in a few laps, that was encouraging. So I've got my eyes set on the next car in front of me, which is Trebes, and I can tell I am gaining on Trebes. And if you look at that track map in the upper right, you can see one car ahead of everybody and then a whole bunch of cars all grouped together. So that's some good news if I can keep making progress. But Trebes kind of runs away from me a little bit here as I try to stick to my lines, stick to my braking points, and try to churn out some laps like a robot. Still got rain behind me to deal with, and I was a little concerned through this death chicane being so close to another car and dealing with dirty air, but I go through there a little faster than I did the previous lap. Decent run, but rain behind me in my rearview mirror is still sticking with me. And then we've got somebody right in front of Trebes. That is Roach. Gained a little bit more on Trebes. I was running fuel map 1 in this car the whole way, so I did not have to deal with adjusting the fuel map on the fly. What I did have to do to conserve some fuel is short shift, and then you can see Yen pop in out of nowhere. I don't know what was going on with him or his connection, but that happens a couple more times. So he's back there, teleported, and then we are going to see him magically appear again. But I have gained on Trebes. And you can see we've got another car in front of him and a car in front of him. So that is Roach, and then I'm not sure who's in front of him yet. But while I'm racing, I'm really only concerned about Trebes. I know I got a good run here. I use his slipstream and then go position myself to be on the inside of this turn. And now we're up into P8 with a group of cars in front. Getting a little more brave on that part of the chicane. Maintaining about 108. I was aiming for about 115, trying to maintain a minimum speed of 115, but I just wasn't able to do it. I was giving it a little bit more brake, and honestly my focus was disrupted by that prior to turn 1 crash. So as we start lap 6, squarely in P8, I've got a little gap behind me now. Just trying to hit my lines. I see a whole bunch of cars going 2, 3 wide through this turn, and now they're all over the place. And I remember being on the comm, on the voice chat, and saying, hey guys, I'm going through. I had nothing to do with that accident. So I didn't feel like I was taking advantage or passing under yellow, which Roach and I talked a little bit about. Speaking of Roach, don't know what happened there, but he is off in the sand if you heard it and saw it in the rearview mirror. But we're into P7 by getting past Roach, but we're right on P6 and 5. Yeah, I don't really know what happened in their incident, but as they were battling and all kind of slowing down for each other and getting themselves back on the track, I didn't even recall seeing the yellow out there, and I didn't feel like I was taking advantage of it, but I don't know, maybe I am. Maybe that was wrong. Comment below if that's the case. I did not get a penalty, so I kept sailing through. Only gained the 1 position on Roach anyway. And not bad through the chicane that time, but not nearly as fast as Do What and Delta, who are right in front of me now. I get a pretty good exit here, though. And just trying to chase those guys down. Looks like I've got a decent gap behind me, but if you look at that track map in the upper right hand corner again, you can see there's still a large group of cars together. 4 of them, I think, maybe 5. So we're on lap 7 now, and I've gained a little bit on these guys on this next group of 2 in front of me. Lifting as we go over that right-hander, hard on the brakes, trying to get over this curb. I miss it that time and go a little wide. Trying to get in Delta's slipstream, but for these S's, I kind of don't want to be in anybody's slipstream. It is a little sketchy in clean air, and in dirty air, it's an adventure. Not quite the same adventure as Death Chicane, but I had plenty of spin outs in practice laps. I get a good exit out of that turn, gaining slightly, but trying to be cautious because I don't want to be too close to anybody going through here. So maintained, it looked like a minimum speed of 111 through there. Not enough to be catching anybody, but it looks like Delta is going for a move. And I gain a little bit more ground, but that slower speed of that corner is a bit misleading, but it looks like we maintain it. So I am not too far behind here, about a second behind Do What with Delta in front of him. Agent Orange is pretty much gone. That yellow flag indicator I think is Yen. Maybe somebody else was sliding. I think that's Yen's car that's right in front of Pilar, you could see momentarily. But we're going to see what happens if it's on this lap. There was all kinds of shenanigans happening with Yen's car. Teleportation, flying into walls. There he goes. He was there on the sand, and then he disappeared. Wish I could tell you what was going on. Wish it wasn't happening during the race, to be honest with you. It's hard enough to keep this car on the track, racing against these guys, and then have to deal with that. But we are on lap 8. I am squarely in Do What's slipstream. Now in Pilar's, I decide I'm going for it. I go to the inside, but so does Pilar. So I've made a spot on Do What. So now into P6 after all of that drama in the beginning. A lot of traffic though. We're all stuck together here going through the Death Chicane. But I get through it okay. Do What, I'm not sure what drama he had there. I was hoping I could get by Pilar, but I missed my slingshot and ended up tapping his bumper instead. I try to go inside here and but I'm carrying too much speed, and he ends up coming back around the outside, and I'm able to hold him off at least for the moment, but it looks like he's got some momentum, and he's able to get by me. So it's back down to P6. Still have Do What in that rearview mirror. A few pixels at the moment, but that may change. So he comes flying up. So we've got Hobo going sideways there for a little bit. So I gain a position there, P5. Hobo, unfortunately, messed up his pit strategy, or excuse me, his qualifying strategy. We were going to do the same thing, qualify on softs, switch over to mediums, get one sector in during the qualifying period, and then start the race on mediums. He missed that last part of the strategy and ended up starting the race on softs. Not the plan. So right around now, yeah, on lap 9 on softs, it's terrible. They're very rough. But I'm in P5, chasing down Pyler. We've got Delta in front of him. So this is still looking pretty good, all things considered. Halfway, not quite halfway through this race. We've gone from 15 and a spin out, and lots of smoke there. I think Delta grazed the wall. Duwat coming in from behind, carrying way more speed than me. I was being conservative, and Duwat, if you're wondering why he has disappeared, it's because he served a penalty. End of lap 9, in P5, time to pit, but those guys, as you can see, crossed that white line. That's no bueno. I was able to barely squeeze in, slow down enough to make that pit lane. That's the pit lane. If you cross that pit lane line, you have earned yourself a 3-second penalty. Sitting now in P6 during the pits. Most people pitted on 9 and did a single stop. I know there were at least 1 or 2 that did a 2-stop race. As we wait out this agonizingly long pit stop that I'm just doing in real time because I decided to just let this whole video play out. Oh man, maybe I'll cut this. This is really long. Wow. Guys. Okay, here we go. Heading back out, and now we're in P4 and we've got Delta behind. So Pyler got out in front, Delta did not. Not sure what happened there, but I believe both of them still have they will have a 3-second pit lane penalty to serve coming up on this lap. I got fresh tires. I'm in P4. I see P3 in front of me. I know, or at least I think, he's got to serve a 3-second penalty. That's really good news. Delta behind me, holding up traffic and also looking to be serving his own 3-second penalty. If that all plays out, that's quite good news considering how this thing started out. So my job here is to churn out fast, consistent laps and not die of death in the death chicane. They don't call it that for nothing. Get a good exit out of there, but Pyler's off and running here, and I need to chase him down. Even with that penalty, I'm not super confident that that's going to get me past him, so I'm going through there at about 110. As I tried to look down and watch the screen, I see my rearview mirror, people moving to the right, and then is that Pyler? That's Pyler. We're past Pyler. That's excellent news. Somehow into P3 after all that. However, there's a long way to go here. So I gotta maintain some guys who are very fast in fast cars. And what do we have? Another 7 laps to do it, 8 laps to do it. So whatever, just put my head down and try not to pay too much attention to the rearview mirror while I'm driving, and get some good laps in. So this one just about flat out. I did do a slight lift there, hard on the brakes, get over this curb early on the gas, short shifting to save some fuel. That's good to see in the 33s for that sector. Trying to get down to about 115, 117. I went a little too slow there, but for whatever reason, whether I got a little faster or they got slower, Pyler has fallen off behind. You can barely see him in the rearview mirror, at least for now. That's some more good news. We got to get a gap going here, and you can see that group coming in the rearview mirror. Trying to get through here as best I can. I got fresh tires now, and a full tank of gas. Trying to get through here clean though. That's a little slow and a little dicey there to the left, but no contact. That's a win. I'm calling that one a win. Piler and Do What have now changed positions. Not sure what happened there because I couldn't see it in that rearview mirror. But there's a sizable group behind me. This is far, far from over. Start of lap 12. Hard on the brakes right after that 150 marker. Down to third gear, get over that curb, throttle control through here, let it push out all the way to the edge of the track. Avoid going over that curb too much. This can be taken flat out. I am being a little conservative there because sometimes if you take that flat out on worn tires, that's a bad day. Do What still behind me, and he is up to about 7 or 8 pixels now, so that's a little bit of a concern, but all I can do is what I control and try and just get these laps as fast as I can, consistent and without crashing. So it looks like I gain some time on him through that long S section and straight. The other thing I'm thinking is with those guys grouped closely together, that could benefit me. So yellow flag, don't know what happened here. And I don't see any evidence, so I don't know if SoCal, who is up in P2, if maybe he had an incident well ahead of me and then was able to take off. That could be, because now I can see him, so that might be exactly what happened. But I've got Do What now up to about 15 pixels in that rearview mirror. I get a good run out of there, so he's not gaining just yet as we start lap 13. So I still have a little room behind me, not too worried about it, and honestly he's trying to eye up SoCal now that I can actually see him on the track. And I think he's probably 4 or 5 seconds in front of me. Yellow flag. What's the yellow flag for? Well, unfortunately, it's for Yen. And couldn't really tell you why, but he has teleported back onto the track and not ghosted, unfortunately. So in daily races, I think any lap traffic is ghosted. You can see he's got a blue flag out. And I remember trying to communicate to him on comms as he goes off the track, please maintain your line and let me through. And he's kind of drifting back and forth, and that made me very concerned and slow. And then I don't know. Someone can maybe explain what is happening there. I don't know if that was him and user error or internet lag or what, but at this stage I'm kind of happy to just be away from his car. And who was that? It went by so fast I didn't see it, but we had somebody go sideways there. Big crash. All of that drama and distraction. Now I've got Do What coming right down on me. I am under attack. He drifts back a little bit here, but I think he's still in my slipstream, and he's going to start catching up as you see the pixels increase and increase very quickly toward the end here. So I brake hard, and bam, I don't know, misjudged, or he probably just has a different braking point, and then when you're in the dirty air, it disrupted him. He hits me pretty hard, but obviously I stayed on the track, and it didn't mess me up too badly, so maybe I was braking a little too soon there if he's able to plow into me and push me forward. Not really sure. It is what it is, but I believe he's going to be serving a penalty now. And I'm just not really concerned about it. Happy that he didn't get by me. A little bit of contact that didn't really affect me. And getting a little bit more of a gap as we're halfway or so through lap 14. 4 more to go. And there's SoCal up ahead again. So whatever drama has been happening from behind, I'm still slightly gaining on SoCal. We're going through there at 110. Do what is going faster than that behind me, but you see him disappear as he serves his penalty again. So I've got a little breathing room, at least for now. Well, I did, and now Pyler's right on me. So that was short-lived. I was also trying to consider what these guys were doing for tire and fuel strategy and whether they had to adjust their fuel map. But I've got Pyler right on me, and I thought he may go for that move. He doesn't. He backs out. But I don't know if he's on worn soft tires or if he's trying to conserve fuel or if he did conserve fuel and now he's got power to spare. You just don't know. So I'm really just trying to run consistent laps on these mediums. And if somebody's got me, they've got me with, you know, more than 3 laps to go, still almost 4 laps to go. I was not thinking I would be in a position to try to defend Pyler. I'm not going to defend for 3 long laps on a technical course like this in a Group 3 car. It's just too risky. So if he's got the pace, I likely would just let him through. I may take a slightly defensive line and make him work for it, but that's probably going to be about it. But so far, he's not made that move. He's pretty far back to try it now, but we are closer now to SoCal in front as I get a little more conservative going through the death chicane down to about 107, 108, and even doing that, I still graze the wall. But more good news, Pyler has fallen back. I don't even see him in the rearview mirror, so he has probably had an incident in the death chicane. SoCal is still in sight, but I'm not really closing on him. A lap or 2 ago where I had my sights set on him and felt like I was gaining after some of the drama of getting tapped by Do What and the teleportation by Yen and being distracted. I think I lost some of that, and but I've still got 3 laps here, and I can see him, and I think I'm starting to gain again. I also don't know what his strategy is. I don't know if he needs to do any extreme fuel saving or if he is running on softs that are giving away. So the approach is the same. It's to just try to go fast as I get another good first sector there, a 33.7, good for me anyway. And just maintain, keep it on the track, trying to push to about 90% the entire way. I did not want to try to push to 100%. Just the risk reward factor is not there. And now you can see things changing on the track a little bit as the clouds come in. We've still got 2.5-ish laps to go. And in the voice chat, some of the guys started talking about as this mist comes in, it can actually get on the track and it not make it wet, but make it damp and will affect the handling characteristics of the car. So as we're getting on in laps here, I was definitely starting to think that as they were talking about it, because I didn't think I had a whole lot of practice in the mist and fog. I guess it's really more of a mist. It's not too much fog, but coming up to start lap 17 now. SoCal's pretty far in front of me. I am not pushing to catch him. I am trying to stay consistent and stay in front of the group that's behind me, which right now looks like Delta and Pyler. Delta, Pyler, Do What? Hobo behind them. And, you know, if something happens with SoCal and he either spins or has to slow down because he's managing fuel or tires, or both, then I can maybe take advantage of it. But again, this is just not a track track and car combination that I feel comfortable pushing to 99 or 100%. It was 90%, and especially death chicane, because I did not want to die of death in death chicane. I think I've said that before. I'm also during this time of the race, I was becoming more aware of my fuel and not being super confident that I had enough to finish if I kept driving the way I was driving. So I start short shifting quite a bit, and now I've slowed down quite a bit to get through the death chicane. But on this last lap, I wanted to make sure, or really the lap 17, I wasn't sure where I'd be. Once I crossed the line here to start lap 18, it'll show in a second, I think I had like 1.2 or 1.3 laps remaining on my fuel, so I felt a little more comfortable that I can wind this thing out, rev it out, and get a little further into the power band. So my shift there is a little bit later. Normally I was shifting on that rev meter about halfway up or less. And if I have to do some more extreme fuel saving, like as soon as that light starts to light up, I would shift. But I get conservative there, slow down way more than I had been, which was also, to be honest, dangerous. I tried that a few times in practice where as tires were wearing on or getting later in laps, and I would have to try to drive the car differently. If I went too conservative, I would disrupt myself, upset the car, and end up spinning or crashing. So like I remember thinking at one point I tried to do the chicane at 80%, pushing 80%, and I immediately crashed. So I had to try to consciously just keep it to 90% pushing through there each time. I made an exception here because I think I had about 6-second lead behind me from the next car. So I slowed way down to make sure I didn't mess up, I didn't push too hard. And then as I did that and saw that lead shrink, now you can start to see a car in my rearview mirror. So I thought, oh boy, have I overdone it. But once I made it through this turn, and you can see Do What coming through there and then going off into the sand, it looks like, yeah, Pilar behind him. It's gonna be a P3 after all that. Very, very fun race, very exciting race, and I felt very, very pleased after that start to fight all the way back to a P3 finish. Good stuff, really good stuff. Apologies to Scuds for that incident in the beginning of the race. He did not deserve that 5-second penalty. I think over an 18 lap, half-hour race, it gets fairly equalized, but unfortunate for him to have to deal with that. And again, I don't know what was going on with the space-time continuum, but probably entertaining if you're not on the track. I hope we get that sorted out by the next race. If you enjoyed watching this race, here's another one I think you might like.